All right, guys. Sitting down after the game. What happened?
The game ended on 6, and I wound up winning on objectives, and we tied on kill points, and then we tied on all the secondaries.
Tied on everything except for kill points.
Objectives.
And objectives.
Got one.
Sorry, that's what I meant. So, Rob, what do you think was your most crucial moment in this game? Your most linchpin?
Well, I feel the turn that really lost it for me was towards turn 4, I believe it was. My 8-man Immortal squad got pinned by the Thunderfire cannon and wasn't able to advance towards the objective or jump back in their night sights and fly away to then later contest in another round.
Yeah, the pinning of that was pretty bad. How about yourself, man?
Probably my multi-assault. My beginning started off pretty weak. I couldn't get Jaws to work. My orbital bombardment did nothing. Then every reserve came in and they were kind of lackluster. But I got a really crucial multi-assault off and was able to knock his Wraith unit down. So also turn I was able to Jaws off one of his non-Warlord, Destroy Lord, and then was able to kind of contain the other Immortal unit, the Warrior unit as well.
And that Jaws is actually what got you the multi-assault too.
Yeah.
So that Jaws that did work ended up...
The one that finally got through actually was huge, so...
Right on. Would you guys, either of you have deployed differently? Matt, we'll start with you.
I know we were sitting there talking to the game, and Jesse especially was there judging for us. Didn't really like the deployment of the Stalkers in the corner. And my main reason for doing that is I really didn't think they were going to do much this matchup. Sure, they're going to shoot some night sights, but frankly, they would put some hurting on, but I really wanted it to make... He had to go after him and had to hunt them. So when he deployed kind of straight across, I used the Stalkers in the corner to make him try to split his army, so he couldn't just send everything after the command squad, because frankly, had both Wraith units hit the command squad probably would have been gone. So by doing that, I make him either choose, does he want to commit to the command squad, or does he want to go go after the Wraiths? And also, if he commits to the command squad and moves everything there, I might... One, he has to bunch up more, so it's going to give me probably a better Jaws line, and it's also probably going to give me a better orbital bombardment as well. Other than that, I think keeping the Stalkers on, maybe keep one on, reserve one, but other than that, I think the deployment was okay.
Yeah, how about yourself, Tom?
Actually, one of the things I was thinking about doing at the beginning was deep striking my Warlord down. If I could go back and do it again, I think I would have done that. Basically, been able to bait his command squad across the table, brought in my Warlord squad somewhere on one of his objectives, and then forced him to have to make a play back at me.
Okay.
I think that was my biggest misplay there. Aside from that, I like my centralized position. I mean, it's always hard to set up first, but my centralized position got me in a pretty good position to basically move wherever I need to go. Like he said, he stuck his 2 Stalkers off to the side, so I figured I would basically push that side pretty hard. Luckily for him, all this stuff came in reserves on that side, so put me in a bad spot, and I had to commit to that side after that. So
Right. So from the idea of just going after the Stalkers ended up going bad for you with the reserve rolls.
yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. And then in general, aside from deployment, is there anything you would have done differently?
You know, I think looking back on it, I really wanted to take out the corner when he had all of his bikes and stuff there. Probably should have played a little bit smarter and kept my Immortals reserved in my Flyers. Should have considered more about the turns and having to embark back in, get off the board and come back in. I kind of put myself in a bad position there. Thinking back, it might have been smarter to take them off the board. And then so that they're ready to come back in turn 4, turn 5, instead of trying to make a push to kill his stuff.
Okay. How about you, Matt?
Part of me really wishes I'd considered keeping all my bikes out except for... I mean, I had the ability to reroll all my reserve rolls, my Warlord trait. And on turn 2, when all 4 of my bike units came in, I really considered trying to keep all but the multi-units out. Have the multi-units come on, take out the Annihilation Barge like they did, but pretty much... feed him. The only thing his Wraiths could have gone after at that point, which would have been the 5-man melter unit, which would have caused his Wraiths to back up or come up forward and go after the Space Wolf unit, the 5-man. And then it gives me the bikes coming on late and letting him splinter a little bit more, and then let the bikes come on, let their mobility kind of dominate the game a little bit. The other big thing, and it wound up being in my favor, but the turn I was down here at the end and considered breaking the Chapter Master off to chase after the Annihilation Barge, and then let the rest of the unit go after the 2-man Immortal and hold the bottom right objective. Wound up not doing it because I was worried about the Annihilation Barge taking out the scouts, even though they could go around and get the 2-up cover, which he almost did anyway, and then took him out with wound up getting them, well, almost got them later. I considered doing that and decided not to, so that would have been probably my biggest mistake, because I would have left my Chapter Master out in the open. Sure, I would have gotten the Annihilation Barge, but then both Night Sights would have lit up my Chapter Master, and I would have given him Warlord and would have potentially lost the game had something gone a little bit differently on turn 5, on turn 6.
You could have not rolled a single one. It's possible.
Yeah, sure.
All right, so Matt, you had said at the beginning of the game you thought your MVPs was going to be the Command Squad, but specifically Jaws and the Orbital Bombardment. Is that still true?
Boy, so turn 1, I get 2 Jaws off right on his Warlord, fails both Deny the Witches, passes both Jaws checks, drops the Orbital Bombardment on top, does no wounds. So, yeah, they were really crappy. Obviously, as Rob pointed out, the Jaws on the turn I multi-assaulted was huge because it got the Warlord out of the way, which kind of split the Wraiths, which allowed me to get 1 unit through the middle for to get the multi-assault, which was kind of huge. Because if I didn't get the multi-assault, like I still didn't wind up wiping both units, but then it would have wasted another turn for me and would have given his bigger unit a chance to kind of get in more and do something. The Command Squad was the MVP though. They kind of once I finally got his Warlord and got that unit on turn 3, I think it was, they just easily did work of Annihilation Barge, and then just kind of had at it the whole time. So the unit wound up being the MVP. Jaws was only really crucial at one point. So.
All right, and Rob, your Wraiths were your MVP at the beginning of the game.
Yeah. No. My Warlord unit, he got back up, so the Resurrection Orb helped. But aside from that, his Mind Shackle Scarabs got a Chapter Master, but wasn't able to cause any wounds. They just kind of did nothing at all. They failed a charge, which was pretty big. I need a 5 on 3d6. But the other Wraith Squad actually did pretty good. They were able to get in the corner and multi-assault, and basically they did a lot of work on taking out his troops. So they didn't do too bad. It would have been nice to keep them away, like you said. In the turn that I won, I got to reform. I used them to kind of try to bubble shield my Immortals.
Right.
The idea was if I could get my Immortals one more turn without getting engaged, they were going to jump back in the Night Side, fly off the board. The fact that they got engaged means I couldn't do that. So not only did they get engaged, so I couldn't fly them off, but other guys got pinned, so they couldn't fly off. So at that point, I lost all my mobility in my force and really swung his way.
All right. So would you say that was the most disappointing thing of the game for you? That one action and that one turn.
It was really that one turn. Like pretty much everything was going pretty good for me. I was making some, like you said, I made my initiative test against Jaws. I denied the Witch on one of them. Sure, he was beating my Warlord squad, and I kind of knew I was going to give up Warlord anyway. The fact that towards literally the next turn, I pretty much lost everything that I needed to be there for me. It was big. It was a big swing, and it was the turn that I lost it.
Okay. And how about you, Matt? What was your most disappointing moment of the game?
The first 2.5 turns. Jaws not doing anything, but Barbara not doing anything. So I kind of ran the Command Squad there being like, okay, they're going to put some work in. Nothing. Then 2 Night Sights both come on. He drops all the units out. Everything goes back in there. I take 2 wounds to my Chapter Master, 1 wound to the 1 Room Priest. The other Room Priest drops, and now I'm kind of sitting there, and he moved up. Luckily, literally the saving grace at that point was he failed a 5-inch charge through the forest to be able to, what would have probably just crippled me. Instead, what it does, it lets, because even then, like I turn back, that's why Jaws again, he denies. I charge in, I get 3 guys in base with his Warlord, Mind Shackle Scarab, of course it's my Chapter Master. Luckily it didn't do any wounds, but everything was kind of going south there, and I guess then it was the start of turn 3 where we finally got that combat resolved. I finally took out his Warlord, I finally took out those Wraiths, and then was able to go hunting. Like, the first 2 turns were abysmal.
Right.
Nothing really went my way. The only good thing was, like, I actually killed the Annihilation Barge with my Melty unit that came in. Other than that, I was pretty much tail between my legs, and luckily it turned. The saying, just play till the game ends. If first 2 turns, just nothing looked my way, and then a little turn happens, and I'm able to kind of get some lucky rolls and get some things swing my way. So
yeah, you were looking pretty grim there at the beginning of the game. And then it ended up turning out for you. So the Wraith Star, obviously bikes is a thing that people are playing currently. The Wraith Star has kind of fallen out of favor recently. What are your collective thoughts on it? Matt, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts on Wraith Star in this current meta?
3-up Invuln's still good. 2 wounds is still good. The Destroyer Lords are still good. The problem is I mean, I'll let Rob hit on the primary problem. What I see them as is their punch is really only good if you're rolling 6s. I mean, obviously your destroyer load does a lot, but if you're not rending, and any army with reasonable saves is going to be able to do something about it. I mean, in the command squad, he got a couple of rends and I passed a couple of fill-up pains. Like, it really takes the primary punch out of it, and they just lose to, frankly, the other stars out there. And they don't obviously cost as much, and because Annihilation Barge is so cheap, they got a lot of support behind it. But yeah, they really have to take their time coming across the battlefield. They're susceptible to a lot of small arms fire, and frankly, they're one of the Death Stars that's most susceptible to bad dice.
So there's a couple things. I wish the unit size could be 10. I think that would help a lot. Not having an invulnerable save on Destroyer Lords is pretty tough.
I guess you're pretty much relying on your Wraiths to tank things at that point, right?
Yeah, you are, which is normally okay, but with the amount of firepower now, it makes it real difficult to make those, because it's still just a 3-up. But the biggest problem with the Wraith Star is the lack of hit and run. Pretty much all the major Death Stars kind of have that now. It's very important to be able to not get locked down in combat, be able to move out and hit other things. They don't have enough killing power in close combat. It used to be pretty okay, because I'd get in there, I'd get engaged, and then we'd slug it out. But every turn I was constantly fearing that he was going to hit and run out and just take the upper hand from me and force me to have to get in that position, or he's going to come charging on me. So the lack of hit and run, the lack of the invulnerable save on the Lord. They're a pricey unit, but I don't know. I just don't think they have the punch they used to.
All right, so just not what they were, not really there in the meta at this point.
Yeah, they still do good, but it's kind of an uphill battle.
All right, I got you. All right, so that's it. Thanks a lot, guys, for talking with me and for playing the game. I hope you enjoyed it, even though it didn't work out for you in the end.
Yeah, you win some, you lose some.
You win some, you lose some. Exactly. Thanks for watching, guys. You can check out all our other videos on our YouTube channel. Go ahead, Jesse.
And for anybody out there, this video should be out by then. So if you're out at Adepticon, I know myself, Rob will be out there. Matt might be out there. Kevin will not be. He's a bum. But the rest of the team will be out there. So stop on by, say hi.
Mystical voice behind the camera.
Yeah, the mystical voice behind the camera. And please be sure to check out, we have a Twitch TV channel. It's going to be in the underbar. Every Wednesday night we're going to be doing live game casts. It's going to be every Wednesday night starting at 7 o'clock, ending at 10 with I believe a conversation at the beginning and end, just like we do with these videos.
And we're going to have some commentary, stuff like that. It's going to be real cool. We're going to do it right here in the store. So check it out.
Thanks.
Should be cool.
Have a good one, guys.